Hey everyone, this week for our Sunday school lesson, we are in Unit 9, Session 6. And in this lesson, we are going to be talking about sin and how we all are sinners and some of the consequences in that, but also the hope that we have in Jesus. So through this lesson, we're going to be going through Romans and taking a look at what that has to say about our sin. So let's jump into our first point, which is we are all guilty of sinning against God. Um, it's clearly stated in Romans that for all have sinned, meaning we are all sinners. Every one of us are sinners. None of us are perfect. We have all sinned against God. Um, and you should make it known to your students that you have sinned yourself. You know, you're not perfect. Just because you teach Sunday school doesn't mean you got everything figured out. You still mess up every day. You know, and that's how we all are. We always are. We're just a sinful people. That's just who we are. And so in that we have all sinned against God. And so we need to make sure our students are aware of that we are just because of the fall, because of what happened with Adam and Eve in the garden, we are a sinful people. And so we've in that sinned against God. But not only have we sinned against God, we have also sinned against others. And sinning against others, it might be the way we act towards people, what we're saying against people. In James, it talks about how the tongue is very dangerous, and how we're supposed to watch over our tongue. We're supposed to watch what we say to people, because what we say has a big effect on people. So the way we act, the way we talk, how we treat people, if we're sinning against them, that's also displeasing to God. So yes, we sin against God, but when we sin against others, that is also it hurts God. He doesn't want us to be doing that. It's dishonorable, and it doesn't please God when we do that. So let's make it aware to our students that yes, we are sinful people. We sin against God, and we sin against others that are around us. Um, and because of our sin, which brings us to our next point, when we sin, we have consequences. Whenever you sin at your house, if your parents have rules and you break one of those rules, there's going to be a consequence. It's the same thing with us and God. God has given us rules, and because we have broken those rules, there's going to be a consequence. And in this case, the consequence is rough. It is death, right? Because of our sin, we are now going to die, and there is separation from God. And because of this, we're going to be in Romans 5 in this lesson, in this point. We're all dead. We're all dead in our sins, right? Um, because of our sin, this is our punishment. It's death. And like I said earlier, this punishment started from the fall. It started from the first sin, from Genesis 3, when Adam and Eve took from the tree that they weren't supposed to. That is when sin entered this world. And since then, there's been a barrier, right? And now we have these consequences that we're to deal with. But the thing is, we cannot save ourselves from this, right? If we try and do all these things to correct it and do all these good things, that's not going to save us from this punishment. We were born into a sinful world, and we cannot save ourselves from it. There is nothing that we can do on our own that's going to get us what we are looking for, that is going to give us what Jesus and God are going to give us. So we were born into this sinful world. We are separated from God because of this, and we cannot save ourselves. So it sounds like it's all rough. Like there's no hope. But when we move forward, we find out that there is hope and that there is good news. And the good news comes in our third point, which is going to be from Romans 7:24 to Romans 8:11, which is all can be saved from our sin through Christ. Right? It seems like we don't have hope because this world's sinful. We do bad things. We're separated from God, and there's no hope. But the thing we need to get across to our students is there is hope because God sent His Son Jesus for us. Right? We can't save ourselves. The only way we can be saved is through Christ. And God sent Jesus down to this earth, lived a perfect life, never sinned like we sin, and yet He died on a cross. He died a death that we deserved. We deserve the death that Jesus went through, the pain, the agony that He went through. That should have been us. And that's something important we need to get across to the students is Jesus didn't deserve any of that. We did. We were the ones that should have been nailed up on the cross. We were the ones that should be crucified. But because God sent his son, Jesus was a sacrifice for us. And in that, we can be saved. And that is how we are restored. That is how we find our hope. That is how we are saved. It is by Jesus who rescued us from our sins, who rescued us from death, right? Because it seems like we have no hope. It seems like there's nothing that we can look forward to, knowing that we live in a sinful world. We are sinful people and can be separated from God forever. But there is always hope. It's when we put our faith in Jesus, knowing that he came to live a life of a sinless life, a perfect life, and died for us. That way we will not have to face the punishment and separation from God forever. So yes, it seems a little scary to the students, and it could, but there is a great amount of hope that we find in this, knowing that Jesus died for us, right? And he has freed us from our sins. So that is what we need to really get across to our students, is that we have hope in Jesus. So once again, I just thank you all for all that you do in teaching our kids and just ministering to them. And I know they really appreciate you. And so hopefully this week will really get the students thinking about themselves and maybe some of the things that they're doing in their lives that they need to figure out and get straight, and just know that they can find their hope and their peace in knowing that Jesus died for them and for their sins. So thank you all again, and hopefully we have a great Sunday this week.